Hey guys, it's Kyle down here at Lunicycle. Today I'm going to show you how to convert the pedal kit XXX back into a normal XXX with pegs. All the bikes are coming with a new peg bracket and pegs, and the new peg bracket actually has the kickstand sensor all hooked up. So in order to do this transfer, you do need to unplug your old kickstand sensor. That's going to be the first step when converting your XXX back to a normal XXX. So the first thing you want to do is remove your bash guard so you can unplug your kickstand sensor. I already removed a few of the bolts, but there is 4 small bolts holding this bash guard on. There's 2 on the bottom right here, and then the 2 up by the controller. Go ahead and remove your bash guard and set it aside. Then you need to get inside here and unplug your kickstand sensor. So I already removed a few of these bolts to the side panel. And you want to find this very small little wire right here which leads up to this connector. Now sometimes this can be all tangled up, kind of like this one is. So when you unplug this, you want to carefully route this through your phase wires and down and out. There is one small zip tie you have to cut. Very small zip tie. Be sure not to damage your kickstand wire. Now leave all this open. You're going to want to route your new kickstand sensor the exact same way. Now once you've got this unplugged and out of your way, you do want to remove the 4 mounting bolts. So there's 2 on this side and there's 2 on that side. They're usually an M6 or a 6mm head. So I'm going to start by removing the ones on that side, then fully remove these 2, and then I'm going to show you how to use a chain tool to get that small drive chain out of your way. So I'm going to remove the 2 on this side. And remove the 2 on this side. Now I'm leaving the crank arms in place because there's really no need to remove them. If you're ever going to reinstall this, it saves you the time of having to use a crank puller and specialty tools. Now once I remove this, this is just going to kind of drop. It's not going to look super cool. Alright. But now you should be able to get this small little pedal kit chain off of the jack shaft and into somewhere where you can use a chain tool. So see how we've moved it over kind of to this side. And now I can actually use a small little bike chain tool. You don't want to use a 420 chain tool, just a small little bicycle one. And I'm going to show you on the bench what I'm going to do. You don't want to push this pin all the way out. You just want to push it 99% of the way out. But it's going to be very hard to show you film like this. So we'll go ahead and cut to the bench here. Alright, now if you take your chain tool and you're able to push one of these pins 99% of the way out, you should be able to reuse it and just push that pin back into place when you decide to reinstall this kit. So as you can see, this pin's coming out, and I don't want to push it all the way out. I just want to push it into this little edge right here. And it can be a little tricky to get this right. So I need to go a little bit more. If you push it all the way out, it's not the end of the world. You can just change out that link or get a different pin. Or half-link chains really aren't expensive and they aren't hard to come by. There you go. If you're able to leave the pin in just like that, you should be able to reuse this later on down the line. Alright. So if you're able to get this pin to 99%, you should be able to reuse this later when you're reinstalling your pedal kit. But now we've successfully removed the pedal kit, and you can set this aside. Alright, so once you've uninstalled the pedal kit, it's time to go ahead and prepare the pegs and the peg brackets. You'll notice you have a left and a right peg bracket. You have a longer kickstand with an extra spring. Now I'm going to show you how to transfer the spring from your old pedal kit kickstand. Prying this one onto place is really not easy, and it can be dangerous. And then you have your pegs. So first thing you're going to want to do is take the longer kickstand, take the kickstand bolt, and you'll be able to thread this in most of the way by hand. And there is a little nut that goes on the back. Now you don't want this bolt super tight, otherwise your kickstand is going to be really hard to push up and down. So just get this snug, and you can tighten down the nut pretty good on the back. Now it's time to install the two pegs. Now trust me, you do want to do this before you install these peg brackets onto the bike. It's very difficult to get to this peg nut. So you can see you have your left peg, which pivots to the back of the bike. I want to go ahead and install that on the kickstand side. And I get this nice and tight with a socket. Go ahead and do the right side. You can see this will pivot to the back of the bike. Go ahead and set this aside. Now I am going to show you how to transfer the spring from your pedal kit kickstand over to your longer peg kickstand. Instead of prying this into place with a screwdriver, which is very frustrating and very difficult, I'm going to show you how to do this with a handful of pennies. So you want to go ahead and put the kickstand in its halfway position. So see how up here it would be closed, down here it would be open. If it's in its halfway position, like right about here, the spring is the most extended. You'll be able to jam these pennies into as many of these gaps as you can. It can be a little difficult because you have two springs, but you will be able to get them in there. They don't need to go in pretty, just force these into these little gaps. And then you'll see when you put your kickstand to the down position, the spring is going to get nice and loose. Or sorry, the up position. Now you can see you can actually remove the whole spring just by hand. You can go ahead and grab your new kickstand with the peg bracket. Go ahead and put it into the up position. And you do want to install the spring with this longer gap up towards the top. Otherwise it will make contact with this nut. And you should be able to just install this by hand, and then all you have to do is pull out all these pennies. So you can go ahead and make it easy for yourself and put it in the halfway position. You should just be able to pull these out by hand. If they're a little tight, you can just use some pliers. And this is a great little trick to safely deal with the strong kickstand spring. And there you have it. Now you can fine-tune the kickstand sensor. You do want a little bit less of a gap than that, so you can go ahead and adjust this with 12 or 13. And then tighten the jam nut down. You just want to be sure your kickstand activates when it's closed. Now it's time to go ahead and install these on the bike. Now it is time to install the non-pedal kit, which we already prepped with pegs and new kickstand. I am going to focus on the kickstand side first. You want to go ahead and reinstall the 2 bracket bolts. Get these nice and tight. Now it's going to be the exact same steps on the non-kickstand side. So the left side would be the exact same steps as this. Now your final step here is to reroute this new kickstand sensor. So you can see it went goes under the motor. You will put one little zip tie right on this motor mount. The wire stays routed underneath, and then it's actually protected by the bash guard. You route it up to this area. Go ahead and plug it into its proper connector, and then it's time to go ahead and close this up. Once you've put your zip tie on this wire, you go ahead and reinstall the 4 bash guard bolts, and that's how you convert a pedal kit XXX over to a standard XXX.